It's time for Be in the Driver's Seat with Regina, the Queen of Car Loans, and mental health expert, Dr. Teresa Moore. A Saturday morning mix of cars, credit, and wellness created just for you. Brought to you by Joe Lunghammer Chevrolet of Waterford. Plan your next vehicle purchase or get your credit rolling in the right direction with Regina today. And now, Regina, the Queen of Car Loans, and Dr. Teresa Moore.
Good morning, good morning. You are listening to Be in the Driver's Seat, and I'm your host, Regina, the Queen of Car Loans. And I'm with my favorite doctor in the whole wide world, and that's Dr. Teresa Moore.
What's up, everybody? Happy Saturday. I love this serenade, okay? Happy Saturday, everybody.
Did you get serenaded when you got married?
You know what? I didn't, but hey, I had somebody standing at the altar, so that was cool.
Ooh, okay. So good morning. We're going to go ahead and get started with this show today. You know, we have Brenda Davis, the realtor that moves you in here, on her monthly segment.
Good morning, and Happy New Year to everyone.
Happy New Year, you too.
New Year.
Then we're going to go all the way out to Atlanta, Georgia. And this is our favorite financial coach, Kathy Washington. Good morning.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. So happy to be here this Saturday morning.
So super excited to have you all on today. We're going to go ahead and get started. What are we talking about today, Brenda, the realtor that moves you?
Today, Regina, we're going to talk about the appraisal process. We're going to explain what an appraisal is and some concerns that we've had with regards to valuation.
You know what? Appraisals are important because why? It's because you need to know what your home is worth before you buy your house and then when you refinance. So if you don't know what appraisal is, you're going to learn today.
All right. So what is an appraisal? An appraisal is ordered by your lender. It's something that you pay for, and it's considered to be a part of your closing costs. The appraiser will make an appointment with the homeowner, and they will come out and view the home, make some notes concerning the amenities, square footage, etc., and then they go back to their desk and they look for comparable homes in the area that have recently sold. They will usually go no further back than 1 year, but more often than not, it's no further back than 6 months. Once they complete that appraisal, they will send the report to your lender, and your lender will then send it to you as the buyer of the property. Now, in today's market, we know that homes are selling for more than they ever have before. But what happens when you put an offer in on a home and then the appraised value comes back less than what you've offered?
Well, Brenda Davis, the realtor that moves you, almost caught her by a government name, which she don't like. What happens?
Well, what happens in a situation like that, the buyer has a couple of options. The first option is that you would go to the homeowner and negotiate the sale price down to what the property appraised at. If you're unable to reach an agreement with regards to that with the seller, the second possibility is both you and the seller may agree to having a second appraisal. And finally, if that doesn't work for you, as a buyer, you could use the appraisal contingency, which is noted in your purchase agreement, to back out of the deal, at which time your earnest money deposit would be refunded to you. Now, with regards to appraisals, over the past few years, there have been some issues that have been identified with regards to valuation of a property. And these concerns are definitely impacting real estate transactions. Most of the concerns involve the appraisals, including allegations of discrimination in the appraisal process. And there has been an increase in that over the past few years. Quite often what you'll find is that an appraiser will use what's called a desktop appraisal. And this is something that's an automated process in which they determine the value of your home. However, there's another issue that we're concerned with, and that's a shortage of appraisers. What you have right now is many appraisers have retired. We have less, our numbers as far as people training to become appraisers has decreased, which is a good thing for some of you, because I would highly recommend, if you're interested in becoming an appraiser, then this is a good time to get into the business, to contact some schools that would provide that level of training for you to become a certified appraiser, because the need is definitely there.
So, Brenda, is there a long process for to become an appraiser? Is that a 3-month journey, 6-month journey? Do they go under someone? Do they what do you call that? Not a partnership, but when you go under some apprenticeship?
Yes, you are required to work along with an appraiser, and that's after you complete your classes. And the length of the training, I don't really know, but I do know that in most cases, schools that have pre-licensing training classes for realtors also provide training for appraisers, as well as home inspectors. So they have a variety of classes that would be available, but if you're interested in getting into something like that, now is a very good time for you to do it. But what I want to do, Regina, is kind of get back to that issue of there being discrimination with regards to the valuation of properties.
I was going to ask that, but I was waiting to make a comment, because I wanted to ask you: is there like a guideline that all appraisers have to use? Because, for instance, if you add on to your home, or if it's in a specific neighborhood, does that matter in terms of how your house is valued?
Well, as we say in the world of real estate, value is always based upon location. Mm-hmm. But not only do appraisers look at the location of a property, they also look at the amenities that the property has to offer. If there have been any updates, such as granite countertops, have you renovated your kitchen? Have the bathrooms been updated? Have you done other
a deck, stuff on the outside?
Decks, yes,
okay.
Patios. If you have a finished basement as compared to an unfinished basement, if you've had a new roof put on your home, there are quite a few things that they take into consideration. And the comparables that they use, which means the homes that they use that are similar to yours, located in the surrounding area, they do checks and minuses, pluses and minuses. So, for instance, if your home that you're purchasing or that you're selling as a homeowner, you want to have the home appraised before you put it on the market, they look at all of the amenities, square footage, and all that your home has to offer, and then they get those homes that are similar, that have recently sold in the area, and they make that comparison, and they make pluses and minuses. If this house has something that yours doesn't, if another home doesn't have something that yours has, they make the adjustment accordingly. But there are some guidelines. They have to use homes that are located within 1 square mile of what they call the subject property, the property that's being appraised. In most cases, they're not allowed to go beyond a particular mile road or main street. So, for instance, if your home is located in Southfield and it's between 9 and 10 Mile Road, they would have to use those perimeters. And if going the other way, it was between, say, Greenfield and Southfield Road, that would be the area in which they would be confined. There are some exceptions to that rule, however, and that would be in the case of if you had an extremely different home, a unique home, and they weren't able to find any comparables within that 1 mile perimeter, they would then be allowed to go outside of that to try to get a home that matches yours as best as possible. But again, I want to get back to this discrimination thing. President Biden has really taken an interest in this, and he has set up a task force that was designed to address the problem with the hopes of trying to put an end to it, or in some way have some restrictions and perhaps some further guidelines that would eliminate the issue. So that's something that I was very, very happy to hear of. He has created this task force. It's called Integrity Task Force on Property Assessment Valuation. And it is, all of that is shortened to the acronym of P like Paul, A Andrew, V Victor, E Edward. And this is led by the Department of Housing and Urban Development by Secretary Marcia Fudge. In addition to that, a lot of states are developing policies related to the concerns of discrimination in the valuation policy and process. So there are just some things to be aware of. One of the case studies and one of the complaints, I should say, that was presented by a black woman, and the home that she was attempting to sell came in far less than what she felt it was worth, far less than the listed price of the property. So she had another appraisal ordered. She did all of her communication via email.
Paper trail.
No verbal
Paper
communication. Everything was via email. And she told the appraiser that via email again that she would not be available to be at home when the appraisal was to be conducted, but her brother would be there. And she had a neighbor who was Caucasian sit in and wait for that appraisal to arrive. And when the appraiser arrived...
So she played the race game?
Right back at it. Right back at it. She had the so-called brother, who was a white guy, greet the appraiser, and that second appraisal came in thousands of dollars higher than what the initial appraisal did. So, unfortunately, we're still faced with these type of roadblocks, and discrimination it's live.
Well, I remember you telling me when, because you have helped me when we bought houses together. You've been my realtor, and also we sold my houses together. And you always say, take your pictures off so they won't know what color you are, what race you are.
Well, yeah, you want to depersonalize your home. Take your pictures down.
That's the word, depersonalize.
This lady, and she did just that. She took all of her family pictures down. She took down any art that may have given a hint that the home was owned by a black person. So she did her homework and made some changes with regards to her decorating and displaying, things that would maybe raise an eyebrow as to whether or not this home was owned by a minority.
Well, that was smart.
Yes, very.
That was smart.
Very. So there are some other things that President Biden is also getting started here. He's this PAVE action. It also includes some training for the public, so that you have a better idea as to what you should expect, and if you have a complaint, how to go about filing it. It's I think ought to be very helpful at the end of the day.
So I love the part that's about the education. President Biden wants to educate. Have you be a little bit more educating on the process? That is key.
The process of the appraisal itself?
No, the education. President Biden is doing things so people will be a little bit more educated on things, right?
Right.
That's key, because education is knowledge.
Yeah, it is. It is, and if you have questions, your realtor can answer some of them for you, I'm sure. If you have other questions, you can most certainly address those with your lender. And so those are two professionals that should be able to, help you to understand the process and answer any questions you might have. And then I wouldn't hesitate, if you have questions, have your realtor talk directly with the appraisal. If there are questions about the value, your realtor can also provide maybe some additional comps. Some appraisers are open to looking at them, some aren't. But that's just a few of the things that you should keep in mind.
So, Brenda, how do they reach you? How can they contact you and reach out? Questions or Brenda Davis, I always want to call her by her middle name. She's the realtor that moves you. That means moves you out your seat, moves you out to make decisions. And if you're looking to buy your first home, your second home, your third home, or you're looking to sell your home, contact Brenda Davis, the realtor that moves you. Or if you are looking to lease that property, she can also help you too. It's always good to have someone there who can help you. What's your contact information?
My contact information is 248-909-9711, 248-909-9711.
We'll be right back with Kathy Washington, all the way out of Atlanta, Georgia, our financial coach, my financial coach. So we'll be right back. Regina, the Queen of Carlones here with Joe Longhammer Chevrolet. If you're looking to get into a new or used vehicle with affordable rates, I can get you financed today. My lenders are making unheard of deals where others are simply cannot. This month, ladies, I'm hooking you up with hair and makeup from Glamorous Rebel Hair and Beauty in Sterling Heights for the first 10 people who buy a new or used car from me. You'll be riding in style with the Queen, Regina the Queen of Carlones. Just Google Regina the Queen of Carlones.
Chevrolet, find new roads.
My name is Marilyn Walker, and I am your advocate attorney. For over 25 years, I've helped your friends and neighbors by providing solid legal advice and strategy during difficult times. My clients will tell you that I am experienced, knowledgeable, caring, and reasonable. If divorce, custody, support, or visitation are critical issues facing you, stop worrying and call me, Marilyn Walker, the advocate attorney, at 248-332-2227. Allow a skillful lawyer to advocate for you.
Hi, I'm Dave Wilkie, Service Manager at Joe Longhammer Chevrolet. Since the 1950s, Joe Longhammer and his family have been honored to service your vehicles. With 112 years of combined service experience, we can take care of any concern you might have. From warranty work to routine oil changes, we treat your vehicle like our own. Call now to schedule the next service appointment at Joe Longhammer Chevrolet. Stop by anytime, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Get your vehicle serviced right every time. Call 248-683-7100. That's 248-683-7100.
Chevrolet, find new roads.
You are still listening to Be in the Driver's Seat, and we are talking to Kathy Washington, our financial coach. What do you have going on today, Kathy?
Regina, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate you and Dr. T. Listen, we're going to talk today about 5 common mistakes to avoid as we're thinking about, filling out credit card applications. Just really want to provide some financial literacy today. Really super excited. The first thing that I want to share, though, is just as I was doing some study and preparing, I thought, man, this is just so incredibly important for people to know. Applying for credit cards outside of your range or outside of your tier. And what that means is if you are an individual who is just getting started on your credit card journey and you are starting to apply for an Amex or, some major high-end or high-tier card, you don't want to start there because you will immediately get a denial letter. So you want to do a little homework, right? Look for cards that are out there that have no annual fee, and maybe that will allow you to start building your credit card foundation, if you will. So that was the first key that I wanted to throw out there, Regina and Dr. T, just really encouraging people to understand where you are in your journey. If you're just getting started, you definitely don't want to try to go after a high-end card. You want to start with something that has a no annual fee.
So basically, Amex, our audience is American Express.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
yep.
American Express. That's a high-tier credit card.
I love it.
That's right. So American Express, especially like a platinum or, a black card or something that you think, oh, my goodness, it'd be great to have that. That's a high-end card. You may not want to start there. If you've been on your journey for a while, you have a solid, credit score where you're in the excellent range, then you're in a better position to apply for, a high-tier, a high-end card, if you will.
I love that you say that because, customers or people need to be educated about where the credit cards not to go after, especially if you're new in the credit bureau system, especially if you're just starting your credit. You don't go after the high tier because you have a high score, because you don't have any history on your credit report.
That's right. And that's one of the factors, right, that they look at. So you definitely want to be mindful of that. So moving right on into the second one that I thought, oh, my goodness, this is great. If you actually are thinking about, most of the application will ask you for your annual fee, right, and your annual income. And most people will think about just their job. But really what I want to encourage people to think about is not just your job alone. Think about that bonus that you might get from your job once a year. Include that in your income. Think about other sources of income that you may not readily come to mind. Investment income, rental properties, even a side hustle. I'm all about the side hustle, right? Even those types of income, you need to make sure you include it, because it says it wants to know your yearly income. Now, I'm not encouraging you to lie. Please don't lie, because you can get, rejected or blacklisted or whatever. You don't want to do that. So you want to make sure that you include all of your income as your yearly income. That's key.
Kathy, I heard you say the word blacklisted. What does that mean in the credit world?
Sure. If you actually try and apply for something and it has been, demonstrated or recognized that you are a liar or somebody that will tell an untruth, then they will reject you and not allow you to have their card. So you definitely don't want to get on that blacklist.
So it doesn't mean you can't come back later, right? And apply again,
Right.
maybe a year later, right?
That's right.
Okay.
You just want to make sure you do what is right. And you want to be honest anyway, because just the key thing is include all of your income. That's the key takeaway right here. Include all of your income on your credit card application.
I want to say you want to be very careful when you, with the income, put all your income on there, but just make sure that you can prove it, because I've seen people put credit applications in and they put the income, right? But if they're caught out on having to prove the income, it's a problem. So if you have other income, you need to actually say, I got other income. Because isn't there a place on the application where it says alimony or other income that you want to actually reveal, right?
Sure, absolutely. You definitely want to be able to prove. If you have side hustle, then certainly you have a 1099 or you have something that proves that you're making that kind of money. Or, if you have investment property, their documentation is going to prove that you actually have that. So you need to your point, Regina, you absolutely don't want to inflate the income without knowing that you have proof. You want to make sure, you don't want to inflate it, period, but you want to make sure you have documents that can substantiate what income you're calling out. Absolutely.
Good. That's good. That's good news. That's good. That's good stuff. Good stuff. Because a lot of people didn't know that.
Yes, and I would say, if you are really trying to, get yourself into a better position, you can always, become an authorized user. That's one thing we've talked about on this show. Just getting yourself, as you move through your credit card journey or your credit journey, you want to make sure you're positioning yourself well. So that's another thing that you can just add. Hey, listen, just if I'm trying to get myself into a place where I have, I'm showing higher income and, higher income is going to give me that higher credit limit, then maybe I become I'm utilizing one of my cards for one of my family members just to help them on their journey, because it's a high credit limit and it looks good on their report. But it's just really building their score to get them where they need to be so they can apply for a higher end card.
I love that you say that, because people need to know what's the best way to get your credit started is becoming having someone put you on as an authorized user, but you don't have to give them a credit card. I have a few people on my card as authorized user, but I look at my cards all the time with their name on it because I didn't give them to them. Just say open them out. So keep the card and add them as a credit authorized user.
That's right. That's right. And then another point that I would say that, is a common mistake is putting down all of your rent. So let me give an example, because utilization is a thing, and also income is also a big deal. So you want to make sure that if you are married, you have a significant other, whatever the situation is, and you have, let's say your rent is $1,500. On your credit card application, you don't want to put $1,500 if that person is also working and contributing to that rent. or that mortgage. So in the case of this example, if it's $1,500, then you want to make sure that you're able to say, my share of this rent is $750. That's what you want to put on your credit card application versus the full $1,500, because that will affect your debt to income ratio.
Now, if it's a mortgage, they can't get around that, correct? They can't get around breaking it up because it's going to show on their credit report. Is that correct?
That is very, very true. If it's a mortgage, if it's rent, you definitely can do it the way I just described it.
Okay.
But if it's in your name solely, you may have a bit of a challenge because it's going to show on your credit report.
That's key, because I see a lot of people that come into the dealership, and I'll say, a question is, how much is your rent? And they'll say, well, my rent is $1,000. Okay, but do you live with family? Do you pay rent? Because some people live with family and they pay them rent. So if you say you live with family, the bank is automatically gonna put in your DTI, your debt to income, something that you're paying. $300, $400, they're going to put that in your debt. They're just not going to let you say you don't pay nothing, because nobody lives rent-free. You pay something, even if you buy food or even if you babysit. Some people, you're doing something to supplement you not paying. If you don't have any money, who you live with, they're doing something to get something from you to supplement if you don't have money, right?
That's right. That's right. All right, we'll move right on into talking about the next mistake that you want to avoid, and that is applying for new credit too frequently. Oh, my goodness. I had this about a year ago. Just got excited because I gotten approved for this large high-end card, and, thought, okay, I'll just go ahead and apply for that other one too. But remember that, your inquiries can be a big thing for you, especially if you have more than one or two. So really, making sure that you don't apply for new credit too frequently. Don't just go on the credit card application shopping spree, if you will, where you're just applying for cards all over the place just because you want to, because that really is going to give you quickly denied for credit.
So, Kathy, are you flagged if you continue to apply for credit cards? Is there a flag that comes up, when you go into the system? So how can, the other creditors know that you're applying too much? Is it like okay, go ahead.
See that in your report. They can see the inquiries, right? So if a person has applied for, an Amex card, a Citibank card, and they turn around and apply for a Discover and then apply for another Visa, they can see all of those inquiries on your card, on your application. And if, they're seeing, and they can tell whether or not you got the card because it'll show, on the application. So you want to on the credit report, so you want to make sure that you don't apply for new credit too frequently. I literally have just tried to say 1 or 2 inquiries a year. It's kind of like my rule of thumb that I use. And if I have to apply for something, I have to think about what is it that how's that going to impact me. And I literally do the exercise before I actually apply. Yeah, absolutely. In fact, I'll give a real story. For me, I literally was, working on building my business credit, and there's some whole set of rules and dynamics that come into play. There's so many people out here that are trying to even go down that route, Dr. T, and what they'll do is they'll apply, they'll put their EIN number in, and then they'll turn around and the lender or credit card company will ask for their social. That's a direct flag that says, oh my goodness, are they going to run my credit, my personal credit, just to make sure I can get some business credit? And this particular company that I was working with did that, and that really was not what I was trying to do. I was really just trying to build my my business credit. So you have to be really careful out here. There is really a science to all of this, and you got to know how to make it work to your advantage.
So, Kathy, what's one last thing you want to share real quick? You got like 30 seconds.
30 seconds. Applying for a new credit card just to apply. Don't do it.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Just apply. Don't do it. How can they reach you, Kathy?
Absolutely. 1-800-988-9184. The number again is 1-800-988-9184. You can also hit me up on my website, KathyWashington.com. Look forward to connecting. Let's get your financial house in order.
So you heard it right here from Kathy Washington, our financial coach. Get your house in order. Just like, before your loved one passed, get your financials in order. Get the will. Get your insurance policy. Get it in order. Well, Kathy, thank you for joining us this morning, and we'll be right back after we take a break because Joe Longhammer just texted us, hey, Regina, it's time to take a break. I need to hear my commercials. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Dave Wilkie, Service Manager at Joe Longhammer Chevrolet. Since the 1950s, Joe Longhammer and his family have been honored to service your vehicles. With 112 years of combined service experience, we can take care of any concern you might have. From warranty work to routine oil changes, we treat your vehicle like our own. Call now to schedule a next service appointment at Joe Longhammer Chevrolet. Stop by anytime, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Get your vehicle serviced right every time. Call 248-683-7100. That's 248-683-7100.
Chevrolet, find new roads.
Looking to buy or sell your home? Whether you're relocating to Michigan from another state or another country, moving across town, upgrading, or downsizing, Brenda D. Davis from Century 21 Town and Country Real Estate is your locally known home purchase expert. Buying or selling your home is a complex process. Let Brenda simplify it every step of the way. Brenda D. Davis, the realtor that moves you. Call 248-909-9711 and get moving on your new home purchase or sale today. That's 248-909-9711. Call now.
You're back to listening to Be in the Driver's Seat, where we have Brenda Denise Davis and Alan Garbasic from Stockton Mortgage in the building today. So good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So, okay, what are we doing today, Brenda?
Today we're talking about the market and what we can expect this year, how things have changed. Just going to give you just some brief information, not going into a heck of a lot of detail, but we all know that property values have escalated. And in this past year, they've gone up considerably. In Metro Detroit, prices were up like 12%, and they're expected to rise another 2.7% the year of 2023. So it's been a very good time for homeowners in particular, but then up to a point, it's been a very good time for buyers as well because interest rates were historically low. Mm-hmm. Now they've increased, so it's not as good of a position for a buyer, but let me say this, it is always a good time to buy a home. And you've heard me say time and time again, when we bought our first home, we paid 11%, so don't cry about 7, don't cry about 6.5, just do what you have to do, and then refinance it because prices will eventually come down, or interest rates, I should say, will additionally eventually come down. I'm getting a little tie-tongue there. But I mean when I say the interest rates will come down at some point. So I'm just going to give you an overview, guys, about Wayne County. As I said, the prices have increased 13.9%. In the Dearborn area, we're looking at 13.4%, and the same is true for Warren, which is considered Macomb County. In Oakland County, we see, as of December of this past year, that the median price is somewhere around $317,262. That's the median price of a home. And that is broken down to about $193 per square foot.
Wow.
Okay. And so that's an increase of 4.6%, or in dollar and cents, we're talking about $13,995 rounded off to $14,000. And those are big bucks.
Yeah.
Inventory right now is still low, and it has been for a couple of years now. And we're hoping to see some changes there, that more homeowners will be willing to put their homes on the market. And the largest complaint or comment that I received from homeowners is that even when we had the market where you were getting multiple offers, which was taking the price range well above the list price, Even though that market is gone and prices have stabilized, what we're seeing more often than not now is that homeowners have to be really careful and list their homes according to market value, which is going to help that home to sell faster. But sometimes you even find that based on the condition or some other factor, they may have to do a price reduction to bring that price down in order to attract a buyer.
Price reduction?
Price reduction, and I know homeowners don't like to hear it, but I always look at it as a balancing act. If your price is here, then the condition of your home has to be there. And if it isn't, you're either going to have to make improvements to bring that house up to the level or the price that you're asking, or you're going to have to bring that price down to be more reflective of the condition of your home. So you can't have it both ways. It's got to be one or the other, and you have to be willing to work with your realtor to make certain that you understand the process, that you're working with that realtor as opposed to against the realtor, because the goal is the same for the both of you, to get that house sold as quickly as possible for the highest dollar amount possible. As far, that's the seller's end of it. Buyers, again, when you're looking at homes, you want to keep in mind that, yes, the interest rate is a little bit higher, but there are so many lenders now that are offering to refinance your loan for you when the rates go down, and they're not charging you any cost to do it. So you just have to look at the long term, because being a homeowner gives you so many benefits. You get a better tax return. You have something to write off on your taxes, such as your mortgage insurance, the taxes, property taxes that you pay. And so it puts you in a better tax bracket. But you also earn money on your investment, because for every year that you own your home, that home is increasing in value. And I always tell my buyers, when you get into your new house, you can, depending on, the condition of the home when you buy it, but you can do small things to tweak it, to make it look better.
That's it.
To
That's it.
add money to improve the home. You just don't want to go in there and live and sit, 5-10 years and not do anything at all. You want to continually do things to improve the value of your home. And at the end of the day, it's going to be to your benefit that you've done so.
So what do they call that when people go in abandoned homes and just squat, right? So you don't want to get the house and squat in it for 20 years or 15 years and figure you don't have to do any improvements.
Well, squatters don't pay, though.
Right, I get it. I get it. But sometimes people buy homes and have homes. They squat.
Because I know, like for me and Fred, when we first bought our home was new. It was only 4 years old. We didn't do anything to it. Number one, because we was trying to pay for the house. I'll be honest with you. But we did some updates to the house after 10 years because the house was new, but we sat and we waited. And so we pulled carpet up and did things like that. And so I'm glad you're talking about that, because when we first got the house, I thought 6% was the bomb until the market dropped, right? So when we got 2%, you get excited if you was at 6, right? So I understand what you saying that the eventually the it's going to drop. The interest rates are going to drop, and take advantage of that. And so Regina, back to what you were saying, you're right. Like squatting, you don't want to squat. You want to make updates. In the beginning, we couldn't, right? Mm-hmm. So now here we go. So
and that's so true of many homeowners. You're adjusting to a new budget, a new way of life. You've got this commitment. And quite often you don't have the money to input into a new home. There are homes that you might buy and say, okay, we're going to settle for this home because we can get it at a lesser price. And over time, we will do some things to improve upon it. We bought our home. It was built in 87. We moved in there in 93.
I know I was going to say the year I graduated, but I don't say that.
Over the years, we've done a lot of things to that house. If the previous owner were to come in there now, they wouldn't recognize it. Mm-hmm. Even the landscaping, if they drove by, they're like, okay, am I passing by the right house? So, you just do things. And along with renovating or updating, whatever you want to call it, you have to maintain it. You just can't see something go wrong and just let it continue to go wrong, because the longer it does, the more it's going to cost you to repair it. So you want to stay on top of maintenance, do things to cut your expenses, such as having your furnace checked out every year. Have your air conditioning checked every year. You do things to maintain a home so that you don't incur those high dollar repair costs. There's one other thing I'd like to mention to prospective buyers and homeowners as well. Homeowners, when you put your home on the market, consider giving that buyer a home warranty, it gives that buyer some sense of comfort that they are not going to be faced with major repair bills. Most home warranties charge you a deductible, say $100. Anything above and beyond that is covered under the warranty. If most of the warranties, again, if they can't repair it, they will replace it. May not be the same brand, but it'll be similar by like and kind. So something to keep in mind. Then buyers, on your end of it, if the seller is not offering the home warranty, ask for it. Have your realtor ask for it. And if you still can't get it, it's money well spent for you to buy a home warranty yourself.
Yes.
And it is renewable yearly. And so it's just something to keep in mind. I know that some of our utility companies offer appliance repair. I would really impose upon you to investigate what they cover, how much the deductibles are, if they have a replacement incentive there, and just do your homework as a consumer. Find out what's going to work best for you, but you need to have some protection.
I love that you said you need to have some protection. We're going to leave you on that point today, and we're going to take a break because Brenda Davis, I always want to say her middle name, but she kind of checked me a couple of times on not giving her whole government name anymore. So that's Brenda Davis, the realtor that moves you. She joins us twice doing the show today. She is going to join us every month. Instead of being on twice, coming in two Saturdays, she's going to just be on one show. She's going to do the first half and the second half. So you get double dose of Brenda, the realtor that moves you. We're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back with Alan from Stockton Mortgage. We got to see what's going on in the mortgage world today. All right, we'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Dave Wilkie, service manager at Joe Longhammer Chevrolet. Since the 1950s, Joe Longhammer and his family have been honored to service your vehicles. With 112 years of combined service experience, we can take care of any concern you might have. From warranty work to routine oil changes, we treat your vehicle like our own. Call now to schedule a next service appointment at Joe Longhammer Chevrolet. Stop by anytime, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Get your vehicle serviced right every time. Call 248-683-7100. That's 248-683-7100.
Chevrolet. Find new roads.
Are you sinking farther and further in debt? Tired of living paycheck to paycheck? Facing garnishment, repossession, or foreclosure? Thinking of filing bankruptcy but still have questions? Call Lewis Law at 248-785-3780. Attorney Lewis has over 20 years of experience handling Chapter 7 and 13 bankruptcies. The bankruptcy code is complicated, and you need an experienced attorney to guide you through the process. We can take care of your bankruptcy and probate needs. Call Lewis & Law, 248-785-3780. We are a debt relief agency. We can help people file for bankruptcy under U.S. Bankruptcy Code. Paid non-attorney spokesperson. Super excited about our second segment of the show. Second half of the show is because this is very key. This is why we included the mortgage part to our whole show, is because I grew up, honestly, and I'm starting this one, I apologize. I grew up, honestly, not as being told I need to rent all my life. You need to get a mortgage. So the purpose of having Alan on the show is to educate. We look to educate you about mortgages. If you're at home sitting on your couch, or if you're in your car, or wherever you are when you hear this broadcast and you're renting, you need to be thinking about buying a home. Or if you want to rent, you want to buy investment property, that's fine. But you need to be able to buy a home, or buy an investment property, or buy a building, because it's not hard. But Alan, what are you talking about today, Alan?
Good morning. Thank you guys.
morning.
Thanks for having me. It's always such a pleasure to be around such powerful, beautiful women. Thank you for having me.
That's right. We are beautiful.
Yes,
Thank
you are.
So you know what, guys? So Alan is around the black queens, because if you guys, Alan is white, so he kind of he's like the little sugar in the middle with it, the sugar in the middle.
The cream.
Alan,
the cream in the coffee, right?
Right. I like the cream and the coffee and the cream and coffee. So you get your coffee black, or then when it turns a little bit, how's it turn? A little bit of brown? Or?
Yeah, so it gets caramel.
What get caramel?
Look.
So he's our sugar and
mocha
our salt
look.
in the middle.
The mocha look.
Okay, enough of my jokes this morning.
I really wanted to come on here and really talk about what we expect in the mortgage world for 2023. So Brenda did an awesome job really just talking about the real estate market, and I'm wholly on board with what she's talking about. We are going to see a continued increase in property values. I almost guarantee it. If it's not, then it's going to be a small downturn. And if you're not in the market, if you're not owning a home, you're going to lose out. So get into a home. If you could buy a home, get a home. Doesn't matter the interest rate, doesn't matter the price. You got to do it. You got to do it. So right into the nitty gritty. What are interest rates today? Number one, interest rates today on a 30-year fixed, good credit, low to mid sixes. So 6.25%, 6.5%. That could go all the way up to 7.5%. That's today's market. That's where we're at today. What do we expect? What do we expect to happen this year? So the biggest increase in volume in the real estate market usually happens right around the springtime. So that's this beginning of the second quarter, and we really do believe, and we've already seen it, we've seen interest rates start to come down a little bit. We all believe, the consensus of our industry really believes 5 to 5.5% is where we're going to land later on this year. And that's probably where we're going to stick on interest rates. So
you're saying interest rates are going to be lower
than they are today.
Okay.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. So a couple of reasons. The Fed.
Is that the federal government?
They set the Federal Reserve. They set the interest rate that banks are allowed to lend to each other with.
Mm-hmm.
That is what drives consumer interest rates, mortgage interest rates to a certain extent, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when they're raising rates significantly, which they did last year, 50 to 75, 0.5 to 0.75% each time they raised rates all year last year, it was so significant that we saw mortgage rates driven way up, more than double what they were at the beginning and end of the year before.
So you talked about good credit. So what about the bruised credit? What about the people that maybe is going to qualify for the lower tier credits?
So here's the issue with that.
I don't even like.
I know.
Saturday morning. I don't even like that right now.
So most likely you're going to be in the 7 to 7.5% range.
That's bruised?
But you're probably going to have to pay a little bit of points, meaning extra closing costs, to get that interest rate.
So when you say pay a little bit more, you mean that they're going to have to pay to buy down that rate?
Exactly.
Let's talk about that, because
yes.
a lot of people don't understand that.
You got it. So what's happening is when we write a mortgage, we sell the mortgage to investors in the market, and nobody wants an 8% mortgage. Nobody wants to buy that 8% mortgage.
No, when you say nobody, you're saying the banks.
The investors.
The investors don't want to buy 8%.
So because they feel that interest rates are going to come down, and they don't want to buy an 8% investment in mortgages, knowing that all of those mortgages are going to refinance and pay off and get a lower interest rate later on.
Oh,
right?
They don't want to. So in other words, can I just break it down a little bit?
Mm-hmm.
So you're saying that investors don't want to buy that 8% or even that 9%, because if they're going to refinance later, they're going to lose that money that they could be getting at that 8 or that 9%.
Exactly.
And they want to keep you at that rate as long as they can, correct?
Exactly,
yes.
Exactly. They want to keep that money coming in, that interest rate coming in. So what they're doing is there's only a market for 7 to 7.5% interest rate mortgages. And therefore, if you're supposed to be an 8.5% mortgage because you're bruised credit, then you're going to just have to get the 7.5% interest rate, but pay the points that get you to there.
Wow.
From
what
that
does that
8,
look
8.5.
like, though? Yeah, like when you're talking about paying for points, is that significantly like thousands more? What does that really look like?
So 1 point, let's say I have a client and I say I'm going to lock you at 7.25 and you're going to pay 1 point, and they're getting $100,000 mortgage. That is $1,000. That's 1% of the mortgage amount. Okay. Extra on the closing costs.
Wow.
So this is something that you could do even if you have great credit, right? So if I come to you and I say, I'm going to give you 6.5 with 0 points, and you tell me, I want 5.5. I can get you that 5.5, but it's going to cost you some extra points to get that interest rate.
So it's going to cost you extra points. That's why you have when you're buying your home, right? And that's why you have the seller, right, that can help you with the closing costs to help absorb that paying for those points, right? But most people don't know that. That's why you're here. They don't know that they can do that.
There's a lot of things. When I'm working with a client that has bruised credit, I work really hard to figure out how to make sure that you can afford the home, number one. Number two, how to get you into the right product with the right interest rate. So right now we're talking about conventional mortgages and conventional mortgage rates. Okay, so you can get a conventional mortgage at a 640 credit score, but you're going to pay a lot of money at closing to get that interest rate. If you come to me with a 640 credit score, I'm probably going to tell you a conventional mortgage is not the right option. We should get an FHA mortgage, and that gives you a much lower interest rate because those mortgages are backed by the government.
Wow. So in other words, somebody comes see you, you're going to let them talk to you and tell you what they want, but you're going to educate them. You're going to educate them at the same time when you do their mortgage. Right?
Absolutely.
So that's what makes you different from anybody else, is that it's the education piece. That's the purpose why the show is called Be in the Driver's Seat, because no matter what you do, whether you're buying a car, a house, credit, life insurance, anything, we want to educate you on that. Even if you want to be an entrepreneur, that's why we have the millenniums on. That's why we have
millenniums on the move, and then we also have the young
McKinsey.
We have the young making a difference. Yeah.
You guys just keep bringing up stuff that I just want to keep talking about different stuff, but I want to focus on the predictions for this year, right? Yeah. So life insurance.
He's trying to bring us back.
He's
trying to bring us back, y'all.
Well, like life insurance, I have
back.
Very, very significant opinions on how to protect yourself when you get a mortgage, and a lot of people will get that mailing after they get a mortgage saying, hey, get a life insurance policy to protect your mortgage. It's not the right way. Go out and get a term policy. Don't fall for that mortgage insurance like that.
Educate us. Why not? Why not the mortgage? Because everybody who gets a mortgage, they're getting that letter.
They're getting that letter. 100% they are. Again, we're flipping scripts here, but that's okay. So here's the deal, right? You got a 30-year mortgage for a $100,000 mortgage. They're going to charge you maybe $50 a month or $30 a month to get that life insurance policy that will automatically pay off that mortgage for you. So let's say you don't pass away until 5 years down the road. You've got 5 years of equity in that house. Now that mortgage is only $90,000, not $100,000. They're still only going to give you $100,000 or $90,000 to pay off that mortgage.
So it's only for whatever
it's
the
only
mortgage
for
is
the mortgage
worth
amount
at that time. Okay.
Yep.
All right.
So
thank you.
Just go get a cheap term policy, 20-year, 30-year term policy. They have a lot of different options too. I was just talking to an insurance girl the other day, and she was telling me that they offer return of premium policies. So you'd get a 20-year term, you pay every premium for that 20 years. You don't pass away in that 20-year period. You get every single dollar that you put into it back.
That's awesome. Wow.
So just a lot of cool things that you can do, but the mortgage insurance is not the right way. So
thank you. I don't know you really are educating us, because I don't know too many mortgage people that would say that.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Thank you so much.
So let's go back to some predictions here. So Fed is going to slow the pace of their interest rate rises this year. 2023, probably end of the first quarter, end of the second quarter, they're going to quit raising the interest rates. That's great for all the consumers out there. So, and it's good for the interest rates in the mortgage world.
Is that just for this year?
At least for this year. That's our prediction, right?
Okay.
I think they're going to start lowering rates actually next year.
Okay.
Or possibly the year after. I don't think they're going to go much higher. So Brenda talked about inventories, and if you look at new construction, this is one of the issues with the inventory in the market. New construction, they're building a little less than 1.5 million new homes every year after year. And this has been steadily growing over the past few years. But if we look back at the 90s, the 2000s, we were at 1.8 to 2 million new houses constructed every year. We're not even close to that right now. We're 25% less of new houses being built right now. That's a big issue with inventory. So less inventory, more buyers than there is inventory, prices will continue to rise. Right?
Yeah, because now those properties are hot commodities.
Exactly. That's economics 101, right?
Yeah.
Supply versus demand.
Yeah.
So that I think is going to continue the rise in property prices for sure. So don't wait. Don't look at interest rates, get scared, and say I'm not buying until interest rates go down or until prices go down, because prices are probably not going to go down. Interest rates will, but we can take care of you guys when that does happen.
So where I'm looking at it, though, because interest rates are where they are, I would suggest, because of what kind of clientele I have, people pay the higher interest rate. It's all about getting it together, going to refinance. So if you're slated to get this house and maybe the interest rate is going to be higher than what you thought it was going to be because the Feds raised the interest rate, is that you get yourself in a position to be able to refinance. So don't slow your dream down. You got to work your dream. Like that, don't slow your dream down. You got to work your dream.
You got it.
You got to work it. Anything you do, you got to know how to work it, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So Brenda also brought up, we're one of the lenders. We will actually pay for all of your internal closing costs on your refinance. So if you buy a house with us, we do your mortgage, we'll pay all of your internal closing costs when we do go to refinance you. So that definitely helps.
So that brings up to the question is, what if someone's looking to, well, I don't know if I want to put you on the spot like that, but I am. So if someone's looking to refinance their house, right? And the house is, if it's a rental and the house is empty, and they're about to move tenants in there, do they have to have an occupant in the house in order to refinance that house?
No, you just have to qualify. You could have a totally empty house. You could have a second home, an investment property that's empty. It doesn't matter. As long as you qualify with your income and your debts.
How long are appraisals good for? With you.
I don't know the exact answer on that, but I believe it's right around 3 months. So
that's a good answer.
Yeah.
I like it.
Good.
Asking for personal myself. So
okay. So here's the other side of it though, right? On a conventional mortgage, if you go to one mortgage company and say, I want to refinance or I want to purchase this property, they do the appraisal on the property. and then you decide not to close with them and you go to a different lender, you may not be able to transfer
take that with you.
appraisal with you on a conventional mortgage. On an FHA mortgage, especially on a purchase, the FHA appraisal sticks to the house. So if you do an appraisal on the house, you are purchasing and it's an FHA purchase and something goes wrong and you say, I don't want to buy this house anymore, but the appraisal is already done. If they find a new buyer, that new buyer has to use that same exact appraisal.
Within 3 months, if that's the limit.
With FHA, I think it's within 6 months.
Okay.
I could definitely answer this more if I have my computer in front of me more accurately. So, but yeah, it's right around 6 months that appraisal is tied to that house. Wow. So Regina, car sales were down 8% last year. Did you hear that?
Of course I heard that, but I also heard that we are going to be moving into, I think we're in our 5th quarter now, and that it's going to be, we're going to double some car sales. And the great thing about my business, because we got to wrap it up, the great thing about my business, Alan and Dr. T, is that my business my door is always open because of the clientele that I have, what I serve, customers with Bruce Credit. That's why I do a lot of content as far as sharing what people need to do and just saying, hey, refinance, go do this. That's what I'm saying. If you get the higher mortgage, go refinance. Don't let it stop your dream, because you can get to your dream. You just you got to know how to work your dream. But what's your last words? How can we reach you?
Last words real quick. So on the fact of car sales being down, consumers are spending less. However, their credit card balances are significantly increasing right now. And that's because of inflation. So I do think we're probably going to see some sort of a recession, but it's not going to be like a recession in the past.
Ooh, let's hope not.
It's going to be a lot different.
Ooh.
There's going to be some people that see a lot of pain. There's going to be others that thrive significantly through this. So it'll be interesting.
How can they reach you?
Absolutely. You could call my office directly at 248-582-6680. And that's Alan Garbasic at Stockton Mortgage, 248-582-6680.
All right. Thanks for listening to Be in the Driver's Seat. I am Regina, a.k.a. Regina Eileen Woodard, my whole government name, a.k.a. the Queen of Car Loans. And
thanks for listening, everybody. It's Dr. T. Happy Saturday.
And
Alan Garbasic. It was awesome to be here. I'm excited to see you guys next time.
All right. Same time next month. All right. But we'll be on next Saturday, same time, 8:30 to 9:30 a.m. Have a good week.
You've been listening to Be in the Driver's Seat with Regina, the Queen of Car Loans, and mental health expert, Dr. Teresa Moore.
Brought to you by Joe Longhammer Chevrolet of Waterford.
Be in the Driver's Seat, a Saturday morning mix of cars, credit, and wellness created just for you. From Regina, the Queen of Car Loans, and Dr. Teresa Moore, thank you for listening.